Welcome to today's video. This episode is about simultaneous exchange and completions. Now, I'll explain what that means if you're not familiar with it. I have done a previous video which you may already have seen or you may go and wish to have a look at, which talks about the process of exchanging contracts and what that actually means. But now specifically, we're going to talk in a bit more detail about a simultaneous exchange and completion. It's something that has come along over the last 20 years or so. It didn't used to exist when I started an agency all those many years ago, back in the 80s. Realistically, the norm was you exchange contracts on one date and you completed 28 days later. That was the standard. And it got whittled down and down with the, I suppose, the need for speed and things moving forward and people trying to get into property quicker. And we got to a point where simultaneous exchange and completions were taking place. Now, bear in mind that an exchange of contracts is legally binding. That's the point where you can't withdraw from anything prior to that. Anybody can do anything they want. And completion is when the money is transferred and the keys are handed over. So it's the beginning and end of that final process. What does it mean in real terms and why is it not necessarily right for you? Well, often people get very frustrated by the time the whole transaction is taking. It could be many months. I mean, 3, 4, 5, 6 months, maybe longer. So when they see an opportunity to cut out that little bit of extra time between exchange and completion, people are often tempted to do that. And there is some logic to it. It's suitable probably for anybody who is a cash buyer buying an empty property. Then there's absolutely no reason at all why not to do a simultaneous exchange and completion. However, bear in mind that in order to get to that point, your solicitor and the other solicitor will have had to do all the legal work to be ready to exchange and also the post-exchange work to be ready to complete on the same day. So there's an argument to say that actually all you're doing is delaying exchange in order to do work that could be done after exchange, and you are exposed as a seller or buyer up to that point because obviously either side can pull out. Where it becomes much more complicated is where you're buying a property with a mortgage or you are selling a property to buy another property in a chain. Now that's where I have some serious reservations personally about simultaneous exchange and completions. As I said a minute ago, until exchange of contracts, neither side is legally obliged to continue. So actually you are exposed until that point. You then also, if you're going to do a simultaneous exchange and completion, the solicitors have got to make sure that if you're getting a mortgage, those funds can be made available on the day. And the difficulty sometimes is not knowing exactly when that's going to be. So there'll be a delay. When they know they're ready to exchange, they will then go to the lender and say, right, we're ready to exchange and we want to do a simultaneous. How soon can we have the money? And each solicitor involved in the chain will have to do that. So actually, again, you're possibly delaying time waiting for the lender to reply. Whereas the difference would be that most solicitors, would know that lenders will need 3 or 4 days, working days notice to get the money available. So that's one problem. Second problem is just a practical thing. If you're selling your property and moving out of it, and you're doing a simultaneous exchange and completion, then you've got to move out the same day. Prior to that, you don't know if you're moving or not. So how do you pack everything up? How do you arrange removals? How do you get people to be available to help you? What happens if it's delayed? Have you packed all your stuff up ready to go and then you've got to unpack some of it, or what are you doing? So for anybody who's living in the home that they're going to move out of on completion, I personally don't think a simultaneous exchange completion is right for you, but it's your personal choice. It can be done and it can be done with all parties in agreement. Again, of course, that's the other problem. It's not just you deciding that you want to do that. Everybody's got to agree to do that. And the bigger the chain, the more complicated that is. My personal view is push to get an exchange of contracts. Get that done with a completion date set, maybe only a few days ahead or whatever it might be, a week ahead. Settle for that, get yourself safe and secure, and then deal with all the post-exchange stuff and the moving out at a little bit more leisurely way so that you're not stressing and not stressed out. Okay, that's the simultaneous exchange and completion. I hope that makes sense. If you'd like to see any more of my videos, then just click the link below, which takes you to my YouTube page, or you can go onto my website and see the other services that I have available to you. And of course, you may be watching this on different social media platforms. If you are and you have a favorite one that you haven't seen me on, let me know and I'll put myself on there if I can. Anyway, take care. Till next time. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.